In the Old Testament in the Bible, there's a whole group of books from the Old Testament that are called the history books. Books like 1st and 2nd Samuel, books like 1st and 2nd Chronicles. It's kind of documents and details the history of the people of Israel from the time of the exile up through and then kind of up into almost when Jesus comes. But there's a lot of history detailed in that time, and the book of 1 Samuel actually has a lot of Israel's histories that is important for us to understand what happens later. And today we have one of those moments that is an important historical moment. Today we hear in that first book of Samuel how the people are demanding a king from Samuel. Samuel is a judge, judging over the people, or kind of like a priestly figure as well. But they're demanding a king so that they can have someone to rule over them and to lead them into battle. But Samuel warns them against that because he knows that there's only one king that can rule over the people, and that's God himself. Yet God permits the people to have a king. God says, well, let them have what they want, and they will probably reap the consequences of that later. And even though we can look at the people of Israel and say, no, don't do it, we know what happens. We know that it's not going to go well for the people to have kings ruling over them. They want something that's controlled, something earthly, something tangible that they can say, this is where we're going to get our guidance. But they're not turning to the Lord. But instead, now this is them turning away from God, kind of rejecting God's authority over them in a way. And even though, we can look at them and say that's not a good thing, it's kind of a reflection for us always when we look at Scripture, that we choose other gods, we choose other kings to rule over us in our own lives all the time. Things like our work. Do we let our work kind of guide the way that our days are going to go all the time? And so even to supplant our time in prayer or our time to go to church? Or does our comfort kind of get in the way of us actually praying every day? Do we decide that we just want to sit down and watch some TV or sit down and eat some food rather than really giving some time to the Lord each day? Sometimes we too demand to have a king, something that we can control, that we can feel like we have proper guidance with, rather than putting our trust in God. That's really the issue here, is that they're not trusting in the Lord to be the one to lead them through to victory in their battles, to prosperity in their lives. They're not trusting in the Lord. So we ask God today perhaps to give us more trust, more faith in Him today, that we might not seek other kings in our lives, but know that there's only one true king. There's only one person, and that's Jesus himself who can rule each of our hearts.